Hello, friends. It's me again. And it's time once more for another story. A part 2, actually. A sequel. This is from Reddit user Beyond Surface 69. This is the sequel to the Goblin Queen story. This is The Goblin Queen and Her Ghost Children. I don't know what that means, but I'm already worried. Hey guys, thank you to everyone that reached out in regards to part 1. It means a lot. These are some pretty painful and devastating memories that no doubt changed me as a person. And some are more like scars than memories. A lot of this part will fall into that category. The cast, OP, your narrator, an emo dork that's a little too obsessed with literature and Fall Out Boy. I was a little cringy at this time and didn't always make the best choices. Nonetheless, I had feelings for the Goblin Queen, and thus ignored a lot of the weird stuff that she did. It's often been a personal debate if I was really into McFlurry the entire time. Goblin Queen, the legbeard of our tale. She's incredibly adorable compared to most legbeards, but like the Red X merch says, it's the beard on the inside that counts. Thought I was the one who started that. It was at this time that she became incredibly controlling, and was obsessed with the concept of her own Wonderland. McFlurry, the Goblin Queen's ex-best friend, and often the object of her affection, after she asked me to take a specific quote-unquote purity from her, I was forbidden to speak to her. I still spoke to her in secret because I thought it was insane to be forbidden from one of my best friends. However, I understood the Goblin Queen's point. Lyric, mine the Goblin Queen's supposed ghost child. The Goblin Queen claims she spoke to her through text messaging app. What? Sky, another ghost child, was less talkative than Lyric, and the Goblin Queen claimed he snuggled her at night. Army Bro, my self-proclaimed adopted brother and my oldest friend. He would join the army and eventually be an infantryman. Deadeye, the happiest goth kid you will ever meet. To this day, he's one of my best friends. And Shit Dad, my father, when he wasn't being abusive to my mom, or when he was abusing drugs. Oh, wow. At the time I was living with my grandfather had passed away almost a week after I returned from the Disney World trip. Oh my god. His passing would be a catalyst that would propel me into the dark corners of my existence. My grandmother started to get drunk almost daily, and on top of that, my father was coming by every day to check on her. I had moved in with my grandparents to escape him, and it made me uneasy seeing him and my grandmother seemingly connect. He was her son, and she seemingly abhorred his treatment of me, but all of that disappeared when my grandfather died. The Goblin Queen was somewhat of my escape from all of this. Prom was nearly a month away. Goblin Queen had gotten a black and white dress after she insisted that she accompany me while I got fitted for my tux to make sure I, quote, didn't fuck it up. After all of the measuring and me learning what which side you dress to means, I dressed to the right. Good to know. I bought us lunch and we went back to my place. The Goblin Queen and I sat on a bench my grandfather had made. I was reminiscing and telling her stories and some of my adventures with him. She was snuggled up to me, and I was not prepared for what came next. Remember what McFlurry asked you? Oh yeah, that. I promise I haven't talked to her. I was getting accused daily of talking to McFlurry. The Goblin Queen would also insist that she had to search my phone just to be safe. No, I want the same thing. I'm not gonna lie, I was excited. I mean, what person wouldn't be? I thought the timing was bad, considering I was just talking about my dead grandfather, but I was into the idea. I knew it was a massive choice for her, and I wanted her to be 100% sure that this is what she really wanted. I mean, are you sure? I don't want you to think that that's all I want, and I don't want you to do anything you don't want to do. I'm perfectly content with just sitting and chilling. The Goblin Queen hopped up and grabbed my hand. I know we both want this, so come on. I didn't feel quite the same excitement that I had felt when McFlurry asked me, but I was excited. The Goblin Queen took me behind a tall wood fence, and I quickly regretted my choice. The spot she chose was not a safe place at all. There were pieces of broken glass, rocks, and some oil-stained car parts nearby. This really isn't the best place. There's glass and stuff. Let's just go to my room. Goblin Queen was already beginning to undress, and I was still skeptical. I was thinking about the best way we could execute this act and avoid all the hazards, but the next thing she said drained any excitement flowing through me. I want it to hurt. Oh. Oh my. Oh dear. I mean, what do you say in this situation? You say no. You say I'm uncomfortable and this is not okay. I knew any further protest would result in an argument, and I was really trying to avoid that. The Goblin Queen laid on the ground, and I was sure that some glass and God knows what else was underneath her. It was incredibly awkward, and my ever-faithful starship inner thighs could hardly dock. Classy. But alas, the dirty deed was done dirt cheap. It's important to the story that I point out I did not finish. We both acquired our clothes, and the entire thing seemed to put her in a good mood. We spent the rest of the day watching old Smosh videos until she had to go. Later that night, I would regret the entire thing. I got a message from McFlurry. So, the Goblin Queen just told me what you guys did today. My heart sank. I didn't respond to her, but I sent the Goblin Queen a half-assed goodnight text, which she would later cite as proof that I intended just to use her for sex. That was not the case. I know now that my hurt and confusion was because I had feelings for both girls and I had no idea how to handle it, but at the time I could not for the life of me make that connection. The following week at school, I discovered that McFlurry was not the only person the Goblin Queen had told, and that just made my situation indefinitely more difficult. The Goblin Queen seemed incredibly happy with the whole thing, and I didn't want to ruin her happiness by revealing that I might have feelings for her once best friend. To clear my head, I had decided last minute to spend the weekend with two of my friends, Army Bro and Deadeye. It slipped my mind to tell the Goblin Queen that I wouldn't be riding the bus home with her, but instead I would ride home with Army Bro and Deadeye. The Goblin Queen saw me sitting on Army Bro's car, and I believe what followed started out as some sort of twisted attempt to make me feel horrible. As soon as Deadeye and I got into Army Bro's car, we found out that he had decided tonight was the night he wanted to throw a going-away party since he was starting basic training when we graduated. We'd started to go to pick up some of the people that wanted to attend, but had no transportation. One of those people was someone we'll call Weed Bro. I had never really interacted with him personally, so I was pretty excited to meet new potential friends. On the way to his place, I received a message from the Goblin Queen. Glad you told me you were hanging out with your dumbass friends. Hope you have fun. I knew she was being sarcastic, but this was when I realized I forgot to tell her. So I replied, Hey, sorry, Army Bro's having a get-together because he's joining Basic. I forgot to tell you earlier because this whole thing was kind of short notice. I'm really sorry. Whatever, it's not like I need you or anything. I'm having a hard time. What's up? Are you okay? The next message I received was a photo of her toilet full of blood. Oh my god. I thought she had started her period or something, but before I could offer my condolences, I had a miscarriage. I was taken back. I knew that I didn't finish, and on top of that, it had been nearly a week. I knew nothing about the subject at the time, so my mind immediately went to, she must have cheated and wants me to think I would have been the father. I didn't want to accuse her on the off chance the entire thing was real. Are you sure? How do you know? I know my body. I felt my baby leave me. We arrived at Weed Bro's place, and everyone went inside. Army Bro and Deadeye already knew Weed Bro, so this quickly became a let's make fun of OP because he's the one here who hasn't smoked weed yet. Some playful peer pressure followed, and I was about to say fuck it and take the next hit of a bong that Weed Bro was preparing. That's where it started. I received a text from a number I didn't know that read, Daddy. What? I was thinking it must be a prank or maybe someone had texted the wrong number, so I didn't reply. But the messages kept coming in, and all they read was Daddy. Okay. I finally messaged back and asked who it was. Almost as quickly as I hit send, I received a response that read, OP, it's your daughter Lyric. Oh my god, no. I think I know where this is going. That's so... Oh my god. Okay. I did not have a daughter. I knew, and now know, for sure, that it was the Goblin Queen, pretending to be her own imaginary miscarried kid.
What the fuck?
I decided today was the day. I hit the bong and felt the sensation that is being high wash over me. I decided not to tell any of my friends about this because I knew they would tell me to dump the Goblin Queen, and I didn't want to do that. I said prior that she was my escape from my home life. She was always there to talk, and it felt nice feeling like someone loved me in a non-platonic way. The Goblin Queen had started messaging that our unborn child was messaging her. Oh my god. And I just played along with it. I knew it would be a fight if I questioned the authenticity. I ended up getting high a few more times and even drank my first beer at the party. I got so destroyed that I don't remember a lot of that party, except the following morning I would wake up inside a doghouse with Army Bro's dog laying beside me. Lyric would become a resident in the Goblin Queen's wonderland. She would often want to roleplay us spending time with Lyric or putting her to sleep. Almost all of the messages between the Goblin Queen and I were now just us role-playing stuff in her wonderland. She would tell me all the stuff that her and Lyric talked about. I didn't respond to messages from Lyric outside of LOL or something short like that. I was weirded out by the situation, but after a while the whole thing just felt normal. I thought maybe the Goblin Queen was just using all of this to cope or something. Prom finally came and would be the event that would disenchant me from whatever spell the Goblin Queen had managed to put on me. Army Bro and I agreed that we would carpool to prom because he had gotten a little behind with the time. We were there about 5 or 10 minutes late picking up the Goblin Queen. Goblin Queen was furious at this. She got in the car and refused to speak to anyone. The entire prom she refused to dance with me and kept her distance from me. Prom was almost over when she finally spoke up. You fucked up my prom. You were late getting to me. We had to ride with your stupid friends. You didn't grab my hand and make me dance with you. You're pathetic. Make me dance with you. That's a big red flag right there, my dude. This was my senior prom, and she only got to go because I asked her to go with me. I got the tux she wanted me to get. Up until this point, I did everything I could just to please her and make her feel like she was royalty, even outside of prom, and I was feeling like all I was getting was the pleasure of playing around in her fantasy world. Well, excuse me, you could have said something and we could have done whatever you wanted, but you didn't. It's not my fault. You haven't even acted like you came here with me. You just stood with your arms crossed. I should have never agreed to date you. You're not a man. With that, she stormed off and went outside. Army Bro and his date watched and heard the whole thing. Yo, you alright, man? Yeah, I don't know what the fuck. I was near tears. Look, we can leave her here. She's gonna talk shit about me. I really don't want her in my car. I smiled a little. I know, dude. And I'm sorry. I'll go talk to her and try to calm her down. Army Bro nodded, handed me his keys, and said something that I could never forget. Hey man, I love you. You're my brother. And I just know you don't deserve that shit. Tears escaped, but I went outside to find the Goblin Queen leaning on Army Bro's car. I'm sorry, I was just mad. Are you mad at me? I lied. No, of course not. I just wanted the night to be different. With that, she took the keys, unlocked the doors, and laid in the back seat. Started undressing. I see where this is going, and I don't like it. Oh, I'll make it better and make sure it ends heavenly. Oh my God! I was still mad, but I did oblige. And I won't lie, it was hot, like extremely hot. We did almost everything possible, and finished right when we noticed Army Bro and his date walking to the car. Then Army Bro got in and made a face. What is that fucking smell? Sorry, dude. He rolled his eyes and we drove off. Goblin Queen stayed curled up to me the entire way home. We dropped off Army Bro's date first, and the Goblin Queen, and her and I said our goodbyes, and I moved to the front. Dude, you're bleaching my back fucking seat. I'm serious. He was 100% serious. I spent the night at his place and the next morning as he watched as I scrubbed the back seat of his car. I didn't say much about what happened between the Goblin Queen and I, aside from we made up. The backseat encounter would affect the Goblin Queen's wonderland. Like clockwork, almost another week would pass and I was told that she had another miscarriage. This time, instead of a daughter, it would be a son named Sky, who would also talk to the Goblin Queen and I via the same number as Lyric. I continued to play along, and it started to take a toll on me. I began feeling like I was just another person the Goblin Queen was using to live some imaginary fantasy. The months would pass, and graduation would come and go. Army Bro went to basic, and I found life with my grandmother would become entirely too much for me to handle. My grandma became convinced that the ghost of my grandfather was visiting her, and my dad would start telling my grandma that it was because he wanted her to get rid of me.
Wow, what an asshole.
My dad blamed me for being lazy, for not helping her. The problem with that was my grandmother literally got drunk pretty much every day. I wanted to help, I tried to get her to talk to me, but it never amounted to anything, and I honestly have no idea what else my dad had said to her. But I have a feeling that it was some sort of plan to get rid of me so he could move his new family in with her. All of that came to a head one day when my dad was supposed to help my grandmother trim some trees in the backyard. He arrived and was immediately enraged because I had just returned home from hanging out with the Goblin Queen. He grabbed me by the hair as the Goblin Queen was driving away. "What the fuck, man? Stop, that hurts." "I don't give a shit, you and your
Oh no.
hair." I managed to break free, and that's when he swung and hit me. His swing connected with my chest and knocked the breath out of me. I have terrible asthma, so it was incredibly difficult for me to regain my breath. "You're just going out with your little whores, leaving your grieving grandmother to do everything around here." I didn't know. She doesn't tell me anything. My grandmother heard the commotion and came to investigate. I was crying, struggling to catch my breath. She said nothing to me and just motioned for me to go somewhere else. And with that, I went inside, packed my clothes, and anything else I could possibly need. There was no plan. I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew I wasn't going to spend another night there. I snuck out the back door and I ran. I ran and I didn't stop. I ran and ran, but no matter how fast or how far, the pain just followed. I was alone, traveling down the road with nowhere to go. This is not the end, dear reader. No, we're just approaching the end of my first year with the Goblin Queen. And soon she would decide that I wasn't enough and that she needed a girlfriend as well, but that's for another part. I'm sorry if this part isn't as well written as the first. This whole thing was a pain to write, but it does feel somewhat therapeutic. Thank you guys for taking the time to read my story until the next one comes out. Oh boy. There's a lot going on in this, and I don't know, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know. I know that there's some serious shit going on, but, like, damn, dude. What else do you say? You know? Like, what else do you say? This is like the stories of weird-ass high school shit that I always heard about. I myself can safely say I never had any of this. I spent a lot of time online, which is probably why I'm as fucked up as I am now, but that's why you guys like me. But this is some serious toxic shit, like all the way around. Everything just keeps getting crazier and crazier. I don't have any advice, since this is, you know, the past, and there's really nothing to say there, but, like, damn, dude. You certainly got some interesting tales, I'll give you that. This is some really heavy narcissist manipulation shit from the Goblin Queen, though. Like, I totally recognize that. And McFlurry's doesn't really sound much different or better, I guess. Because there's a lot of, like, you know what's going on, but instead of being open and honest, it's just a lot of, like, oh, well, I heard this. Oh, I want you to do this. And it's like, I don't know, man. This whole situation just kind of stinks to me. But either way, I guess that's the end of this episode. So, thanks for being here, everybody. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I have a Ko-Fi and a merch store, so check those out. I have a subreddit, r/Moonhorse Stories. You can submit stories there, and I can see them, sometimes read them. So, I guess that's about it. Oh, there's a Discord and a live stream. Links to all that stuff is below this video. I'm not very good at outros, but I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.